Good evening, everyone, and welcome to Circle Performing Arts Alliance production of Pygmalion by George Bernard Shaw. I am Terry Lawrence, co-director and technical director of the show. My co-director, Louis Daly, has an active role in the show as a cast member. Anna Sorrentino was our stage manager. She did a lot of great things for us with costumes, props, stage set pieces, organization things. So much great things. We want to thank her as well. Josh Crisamore is running our tech table. He's doing lights and sounds for us. We want to thank him as well. Ellen and Kyle are doing a great job with the ticket sales and concessions. They're doing so much great things for us, and we want to thank everyone for being a part of this. I have a few things to say regarding the aisles. We want to keep the aisles clear, as there will be actors moving on and off stage, running on and off stage, some with set pieces in the dark as well, so we want to keep the aisles clear. Also, we want to get phones out, put them on silent, vibrate, do not disturb, as again, we have sound and lights. We don't want any confusion with people moving on and off stage with set pieces and things, flashing lights going on in their face. We've had so much fun putting on the show. Last weekend was a great success. We want to build on that success this weekend, and we want you guys to be a part of that. There will be a 15-minute intermission at the end of the second act. Through these double doors is the men's room. Down the hall to the right, through these same double doors, is the women's room. There, as you guys saw, there's concessions out there. You guys can roam around, move your feet some. All the proceeds are going to Circle of Hope's foundation to build a window. So it's all going to a great cause. So again, sit back, relax, keep those aisles clear, silence those phones, enjoy the show. See you after intermission.
Square.
Oh, you haven't tried at all.
You really are very helpless, Freddy. Go again and don't come back until you have found a cat.
She'll simply get soaked for nothing.
But what about us? Are we supposed to stay out here all night in this draft next to nothing on? Honestly, Freddy, you're a selfish pig. If I don't find a cat,
all right, I'll go.
Ah, now then, Freddy dear, look where you're going.
Sorry.
Now there's manners for you. 2 1 to 5, it's strong to the mud.
How did you know that my son's name is Freddy, pray?
Oh, he's his son, is he? Well, you've done your duty, bonds a mother should. He'd know better than to sprawl the poor girl's flowers and then run away without paying. You paying for them? Oh, do nothing of the sort, Mother. The idea.
Please, allow me, Clara. Do you have any pennies?
No, I've nothing smaller than a sixpence.
I can give you change for a tenner, kind lady.
Give it to me.
Now, this is for your flowers.
Thank you kindly, lady.
I'm making give you the change. Those things are only a penny a bunch.
Do hold your tongue. You you may keep the change.
Oh, thank you, lady.
Now tell me, how you knew the young gentleman's name?
I didn't.
But I heard you call him by it.
Yes.
Don't try to deceive me.
Well, who's trying to deceive you? I called him Freddy or Charlie, same as you might if he was talking to a stranger, which would be a pleasant.
Sixpence thrown away. Really, mamma, you might have spared breaking out.
Sir, is there any sign of it stopping?
I'm afraid not. It started up worse than ever about 2 minutes ago.
If it's worse, it's a sign it's nearly over. So, cheer up, Captain, and buy a flower or a poor girl.
I'm sorry, I haven't any change.
Oh, I can give you change, Captain. Let me...
For a sovereign, I've nothing less.
Oh, no. Oh, do buy a flower off me, Captain. I can change half a crown. Take this for tuppence.
Now, don't be troublesome. There's a good girl. I really haven't any change. Oh, stop. Here's 3 halfpence, if that's any use to you.
Thank you, sir.
You be careful, girl. There's a bloke here taking down every blessed word you're saying.
Oh, I ain't done nothing wrong by speaking to the gentleman. I'm very honest. Look, oh, so help me, I never spoke to him except to ask him to buy a flower off me. Oh, so you don't know what it means to me. Now take me my character and drive me on the street.
There. Who's hurting you, you silly girl? What do you take me for?
It's all right, he's a gentleman, look. She thought he was a copper's knock, sir.
It's a copper's knock.
That's sort of a fun now.
Well, I take my Bible oath. I never said a word to him except to ask him.
Shut up. Do I look like a policeman?
Well, then what was you taking down my words for? How do I know whether you took them down right? You just showed me what you wrote about me. What's that? That ain't proper writing. I can't read that.
I can. Cheer up, Captain, and buy a flower off a poor girl.
Oh, it's because I called him Captain. I meant no harm by it. Sir, don't let him charge me for a word like that. You don't know what
Charge? I make no charge. Really, sir, if you are a detective, you need not begin protecting me against molestation by young women until I ask you. Anybody could see that the girl meant no harm.
What business is it of yours?
You mind your own affairs. He ain't no detective. He's a living busy boy, I tell you. Look his boots.
And how are all your people down at Selzy?
How do you know my people come from himself?
Never you mind, they told me. How do you come to be up so far east? You were born in Lissing Grove.
What harm is there in my leaving Listen Grove? It wasn't fit for a pig to live in, and I
Live where you like, but stop that noise.
Come, he can't touch you. You have the right to live where you please.
Park Lane, for instance. I'd like to go into the house in question with you, I would.
I'm a good girl, I am.
Do you know where I come from? Hoxton. Well, who said I didn't? Blimey. You know everything. You do.
Ain't no call to meddle with me, he ain't.
Of course he ain't. Don't you stand it from him. What call do you know about people who never offered to meddle with you? Where is you want?
Yes, where's your warrant?
Oh, let him say what he likes. I don't want to have no truck with him.
You take us for dirt on your feet, don't you? So you come to the gentleman I didn't say did.
Yes, tell them where he come from if you want to go fortune-telling.
Cheltenham, Harrow, Cambridge, and India.
Quite right. May I ask, do you do this for your living at a music hall?
Oh, I thought about that. Perhaps I shall someday.
Ain't no gentleman, he ain't, to interfere with a poor girl.
Oh, what on earth is Freddy doing? I should catch him up here for saying this draft any longer.
Earl's Court.
Please keep your impertinent remarks to yourself.
Did I say that out loud? I didn't mean to. I beg your pardon. Your mother's Epsom, unmistakably.
Oh, how very curious. I was brought up in Large Lady Park, near Epsom.
What a devil of a name. Excuse me. You want a cab, do you?
Don't dare speak to me.
Please, Clara. Sir, we should be so grateful to you if you found us a cab.
For goodness sake.
Thank you.
There! I knowed he was a plainclothes copper.
That ain't no police whistle, that's a sporting whistle.
You're right. Take away my character. My character's the same to me as any lady.
I don't know whether you noticed it, but the rain stopped about 2 minutes ago.
So it has, and wasting our time listening to your silliness.
I can tell where you come from. You come from Anwell. Go back there.
Hanwell.
Thank you, teacher. So long.
Frightening people like that. How would he like it himself?
It's quite fine now, Clara. We can walk to the motor bus.
But the cab!
Come, come, come.
Oh, it's too tiresome!
Oh, poor girl. I'd not for her to live without being worried and chivied.
How do you do it, if I may ask?
Simply phonetics, the science of speech. That's my profession, also my hobby. Happy is the man who can make a living by his hobby. You can spot an Irishman or a Yorkshireman by his brogue. I can place any man within 6 miles. I can place him within 2 miles in London. Sometimes within 2 streets.
Ought to be ashamed of himself, the unmanly coward.
But is there a living in that?
Oh, yes, quite a fat one. This is an age of upstarts. Men start in Kentish Town with £80 a year and end up in Park Lane with 100,000. They want to drop Kentish Town, but they give themselves away every time they open their mouths. Now, I can teach
He ought to
them.
just mind his own business and leave a poor girl alone.
Woman! Seize this detestable boo-hooing instantly, or else seek the shelter of some other place of worship.
Well, I've a right to be here if I like, same as you.
A woman who utters such depressing and disgusting sounds has no right to be anywhere, no right to live. Remember that you are a human being with a soul and the divine gift of articulate speech, that your native language is the language of Shakespeare and Milton and the Bible, and don't sit there crooning like a bilious pigeon.
Aww.
Heavens, what a sound.
Gone. Oh.
You see this creature? With her curbstone English, the English that will keep her in the gutter to the end of her days. Well, sir, in 6 months, I could pass that girl off as a duchess at an ambassador's garden party. I could even find her a place as a lady's maid or a shop assistant, which requires better English. That's the sort of thing I do for commercial millionaires, and on the profits of it, I do genuine scientific work in phonetics, and a little as a poet on Miltonic lines.
Well, I myself am a student of Indian dialects.
Are you? Do you know Colonel Pickering, the author of Spoken Sanskrit?
I am Colonel Pickering. Who are you?
Henry Higgins, author of Higgins' Universal Alphabet.
I came from India to meet you.
I was going to India to meet you.
Where do you live?
27A Wimpole Street. Come and see me tomorrow.
I'm at the Carlton. Come with me now. Let's have a jaw over some supper.
Right you are.
Buy a flower, sir. I'm short for my lodging.
I really haven't any change. I'm sorry.
Liar. You said you could change half a crown.
Oh, you ought to be stuffed with nails, you ought. Take the whole blooming basket for 6 pence.
A reminder.
Oh, we're not lost. Hello? Well, there's 2 ladies that were here.
They walked to the bus when the rain stopped.
And they left you with this cab in my hands? Damnation!
Oh, never you mind, young man. I'm going home in a taxi.
Well, I'm dashed.
Well, I think that's the whole show.
It's really amazing. I haven't taken in half of it, you know.
Would you like to go over any of it again?
No, thank you, not now. I'm quite done up for this morning.
Tired of listening to sounds?
Yes, it's a fearful strain. I rather fancy myself because I can pronounce 24 distinct vowel sounds, but your 130 beats me. I can't hear a bit of difference between most of them.
Oh, that comes with practice. You hear no difference at first, but you keep on listening, and presently you find they're all as different as A from B. What's the matter?
A young woman wants to see you, sir.
A young woman? What does she want?
Well, sir, she says you'll be glad to see her when you know what she's come about. She's quite a common girl, sir. Or very common indeed. Oh, I know,
I should have sent her away, only I thought perhaps you wanted her to talk into one of your machines. Well, I hope I haven't done wrong, sir, but really, you see such queer people sometimes. Not entirely sure who I should send. Sorry, sir. Please excuse me. I wasn't trying to
So,
offend you.
quite all right. Has she an interesting accent?
Oh, something dreadful, sir, really. Don't know how you can take an interest in it.
Let's have her up. Show her up, Mrs. Pearce.
Oh, very well, sir. It's for you to say.
This is rather a bit of luck. I'll show you how I make records. We'll set her talking, then I'll take it down first in Bell's physical speech, then in broad chromic, and then we'll get her on the phonograph so that you can turn her on as often as you like with the written transcript before you.
This is the young woman, sir.
Hi, this is the girl I jotted down last night. She's no use. I've got all the records I want with the Listen Grove lingo, and I'm not going to waste another cylinder on it. Be off with you, I don't want you.
Don't you be saucy. You ain't heard what I come for yet. Did you tell him I come in a taxi?
Nonsense, girl. What do you think a gentleman like Mr. Higgins cares what you came in?
Oh, we are proud. Well, he ain't Bob giving lessons, not him. I heard him say so. I ain't come here for any compliment, and if my money's not good enough, I can go elsewhere.
Good enough for what?
Well, good enough for you. Now you know, don't you? I'm come to have lessons, I am, and to pay for them too, mate, you understand?
Well, what do you expect me to say to you?
Well, if you was a gentleman, you might ask me to sit down, I think. Don't I tell you, I'm bringing new business.
Pickering, shall we ask this baggage to sit down? Shall we throw her out the window?
Oh, I don't be called baggage when I've offered to pay like any lady.
What is it you want, my girl?
Well, I want to be a lady in a flower shop, never selling at the corner of Tottenham Road. But they won't take me unless I can talk more genteel. He said he could teach me. Well, here I am, ready to pay. I'm not asking for any favour, and he treats me as if I was dead.
How can you be such a foolish, ignorant girl as to think that you could afford to pay Mr. Higgins?
Oh, why shouldn't I? I know what lessons cost just as well as you do, and I'm ready to pay.
How much?
Now you're talking. I thought you'd come off it when you saw a chance of getting back a bit of what you chucked at me last night. You'd had a drop in, hadn't you?
Sit down.
Ah, well, you're going to make a compliment of it,
Sit down!
Well, maybe now
Sit down, girl, and do as you're told.
Oh.
Won't you sit down?
Oh, don't mind if I do.
What is your name?
Eliza Doolittle.
Eliza, Elizabeth, Betsy and Bess. They went to the woods to get a bird's nest.
They found a nest with 4 eggs in
They
it.
took one apiece and left 3 in it.
No, don't be silly.
You mustn't speak to the gentleman like that.
Well, why won't you speak sensible to me?
Come back to business. How much do you propose to pay me for the lessons?
I know what's right. A lady friend of mine gets French lessons from a real French gentleman for 18 pence an hour. Well, you wouldn't have the face to ask me the same for teaching me my own language as you would for French. So, won't give you more than a shilling. Take it or leave it.
Pickering, you consider a shilling not as a simple shilling, but as a percentage of this girl's income. It works out as fully equivalent to 60 or 70 guineas from a millionaire.
How so?
Figure it out. A millionaire has about £150 a day. She earns about half a crown.
Well, who told you I owe
She
there?
offers me 2/5 of her day's income for a lesson. 2/5 of a millionaire's income for a day would be somewhere about £60. Oh, it's handsome. By George, it's enormous. It's the biggest offer I've ever had.
Who said anything about £60? Where am I supposed to get
Hold your tongue.
But I ain't got £60. I'm not
Oh, sit down, girl, and do as you're told. Nobody's going to touch your money. Sit down.
Somebody's going to touch you with a broomstick if you don't stop snivelling. Sit down.
Oh, one would think you was my father.
If I decide to teach you, I'll be worse than 2 fathers to you. Here.
What's this for?
Wipe your eyes, to wipe any part of your face that feels moist. Remember, that's your handkerchief, that's your sleeve. Don't mistake the one for the other if you wish to become a lady in a shop.
There's no use talking to her like that, Mr. Higgins. She doesn't understand you. Besides, you're quite wrong. She doesn't do it that way at all.
You give me that handkerchief. He gave it to me, not to you.
He did. I think it must be regarded as her property, Mrs. Pearce.
Well, serves you right, Mr. Higgins.
Higgins? I'm interested. What about the ambassador's garden party? I'll say you're the greatest teacher alive if you can make that good. I'll bet you all the expenses of the experiment you can't do it. And I'll pay for the lessons.
Oh, you're real good. Thank you, Captain.
It's almost irresistible. She's so deliciously low, so horribly dirty.
Oh, I ain't dirty. I washed my face and hands before I come, I did.
You're certainly not going to turn her head with flattery, Higgins.
Don't say that, sir. There are more ways than one of turning a girl's head, and nobody does it better than Mr. Higgins. They may not always mean to. I do hope, sir, you won't be encouraging him to do anything foolish.
What of life but a series of inspired follies? The difficulty is to find them to do. Never lose a chance, it doesn't come every day. I shall make a duchess of this draggle-tailed gutter snipe.
Oh.
Yes, in 6 months, and 3, if she has a good ear and a quick tongue, I'll take her anywhere and pass her off as anything. Start today. Now, this moment, Mrs. Pearce, take her away and clean her. Monkey Branderfoot won't come off any other way. Is there a good fire?
Yes, sir, but that's not...
Take off all her clothes and burn them. Bring up Whiteley or somebody for new ones. Wrap her in brown paper till they come.
Oh, do I know gentlemen you ain't to talk of such things? I'm a good girl, I am.
We want none of your listen grown poopery here, young woman. You've got to learn to behave like a duck. Now, Mrs. Pearce, take her away. If she gives you any trouble, wallop her.
No, I'll call for that girl.
I've got no place to put her.
Put her in the dustbin.
Oh, Higgins, be reasonable.
Really, sir, you need to be reasonable. You can't walk all over everybody like this. I don't know.
I walk over everybody. My dear Mrs. Pearce, my dear Pickering, I never had the slightest intention of walking over anyone. All I propose is that we be kind to this poor girl. We've got to help her to prepare and to fit herself for her new station in life. If I did not express myself clearly, it was because I did not wish to hurt her delicacy or yours.
Well, did you ever hear anything like that, sir?
Never, Mrs. Pearce, never.
What's the matter?
Well, the matter is, sir, is you can't go taking up a girl like that as if you're picking up a pebble off a beach.
Why not?
Why not? You don't know anything about her. What about her parents? Oh, she could be married. Gone.
There, as the girl very properly says, gone. Married indeed, don't you know that a woman of that class looks a worn-out drudge of 50 a year after she's married?
Who'd marry me?
Oh, by George, Eliza, the streets will be strewn with the bodies of men shooting themselves for your sake when I've done with you.
Nonsense, girl. You mustn't speak to him like that. Oh, sir!
I'm going away. He's off his chump and he is. I don't want no bothies touching me.
Oh, I'm mad, am I? Very well. Mrs. Pearce, you needn't order the new clothes. Throw her out!
Oh, right. Come on, girl. You see what comes of being saucy this way, please.
I didn't want no new clothes. I wouldn't have taken them. I can buy my own clothes.
You are an ungrateful, wicked girl. This is my return for offering to take you out of the gutter and dress you beautifully and make a lady of you.
Now stop, Miss Higgins, stop. It's you that are being wicked. Oh, go home to your parents, girl, and tell them to take better care of you.
Well, I ain't got no parents. They told me I was big enough to earn my own keep and send me out.
Well, where's your mother?
Ain't got no mother. Her that turned me out was my 6th stepmother, but I done all right without him, and I'm a good girl, I am.
Very well. What on earth is all this fuss about? The girl doesn't belong to anybody. It's no use to anybody but me. Mrs. Pearce, you can adopt her. I'm sure a daughter would be a great amusement to you. Now, don't make any more fuss. Take her away.
Well, what's to become of her, sir? Is she to be paid anything? Oh, do be sensible, sir.
Pay her whatever's necessary. Put it down in the housekeeping book. What on earth does she want with money? She'll have her food and her clothes. She'll only drink if you give her money.
Oh, you are a brute. It's a lie. Nobody ever saw the sign of liquor on me.
Does it occur to you, Higgins, that the girl has some feelings?
Oh, no, I don't think so. Not any feelings we need bother about. Have you, Eliza?
I've got my feelings the same as anyone else.
See the difficulty in?
What's difficulty?
Get her to talk grammar. Mere pronunciation is easy enough.
I don't want to talk grammar. I want to talk like a lady.
Will you please keep to the point, Mr. Higgins? I want to know on what terms the girl is to be here. Is she to have any wages? What's to become of her when she finishes your teaching? Oh, do look ahead a little.
What's to become of her if I leave her out in the gutter? Tell me that, Mrs. Pearce.
Well, that's her business, not yours, Mr. Higgins.
When I've done with her, we can throw her back out into the gutter and it'll be her own business again, so that's all right.
No, you've no feeling heart in you. Yeah, I've had enough of this. I'm going. You ought to be ashamed of yourself, you ought.
Eliza, have some chocolates.
Well, how do I know what might be in them? I've I've heard of girls being drugged by the like of you.
Pledge of good faith. I'll eat one half. You eat the other.
No, I don't want...
You shall have boxes of them, barrels of them. You shall live on them, eh?
Well, I wouldn't have ate it, only I'm too ladylike to take it out of my mouth.
Listen, Eliza, I think you said you came here in a taxi.
What I want to. I've a right to take a taxi as anyone else.
Oh, you have, Eliza? And in future, you shall have as many taxis as you like. You shall go up and down and round the town in a taxi every day. Think of that, Eliza.
You're tempting the girl, Mr. Higgins. That's not right. She should think of her future.
At her age? Nonsense. Time enough to think of the future when you haven't any future to think of. No, Eliza, do as this lady does. Think of other people's futures, but never your own. Think of chocolates and taxis and gold and diamonds.
No, I don't want no gold and no diamonds. I'm a good girl, I
And you
am.
shall remain so, Eliza, under the care of Mrs. Pearce. You shall marry an officer in the Guards, the son of a marquis who will disinherit him, will marry you, but will relent when he sees your beauty.
Excuse me, Higgins, but I really must interfere. Mrs. Pearce is quite right. If this girl is to put herself in your hands for 6 months for an experiment in teaching, she must understand thoroughly what it is she's doing.
How can she? She's incapable of understanding anything. Besides, do any of us understand what we're doing? If we did, would we ever do it?
Very, very clever, Higgins. But not sound sense. Miss Doolittle.
Oh!
That's all you get, Eliza. No use explaining. As a military man, you ought to know that. Give her her orders. That's what she wants. Eliza, you are to live here for the next 6 months, learning to speak beautifully, like a lady in a flower shop. If you're good, do whatever you're told. You shall sleep in a proper bedroom and have lots to eat and money to buy chocolates and take rides in taxis. If you're naughty and idle, you will sleep in the back kitchen among the black beetles and be walloped by Mrs. Pearce. At the end of 6 months, you will go to Buckingham Palace, dressed beautifully, in a carriage. If the king finds out you are not a lady, you will be taken by the police to the Tower of London, where your head will be cut off as a warning to other presumptuous flower girls. If you're not found out, you shall have a present of 7 and 6 pence to start life with as a lady in a shop. If you refuse this offer, you will be a most ungrateful and wicked girl, and the angels will weep for you. Are you satisfied? Can I put it any more plainly and fairly, Mr. Pearce?
I think I'd better speak to the girl properly in private. I don't know if I can take charge of her or consent to this arrangement at all. Of course, I know you don't mean her any harm, sir. But when you get what you call all interested in people's accents, well, you don't think or care what may happen to them, or you. Come on, Eliza, come on.
Yes, thank you, Mrs. Pearce. Bundle her off to the bathroom.
Come on.
What a great bully you are. I won't stay here if I don't like. I won't let nobody want me. I was never in trouble with the police, not me. I'm a good girl, I am. I never had...
Don't answer that girl you don't understand him, so come with me. Come on.
Well,
I've had enough. Come on.
What I'll say is right. I won't go near the king, not even with my head cut off. If I know what I was letting myself in for, I wouldn't have come here. And I never spoke to him, and I won't care, and I won't talk on. And I have my feelings the same as everyone else.
Excuse the straight question, Higgins, but are you a man of good character where women are concerned?
Have you ever met a man of good character where women are concerned?
Yes, very frequently.
Well, I haven't. I find the moment I let a woman make friends with me, she becomes jealous, exacting, suspicious, and a damned nuisance. I find the moment I let myself make friends with a woman, I become selfish and tyrannical. Women upset everything. When you let them into your life, you realize the woman is driving at one thing, and you're driving at another.
At what, for example?
Oh, Lord knows. I suppose the woman wants to live her own life, and the man wants to live his, and each tries to drive the other onto the wrong track. One wants to go north, the other south, and the result is you both have to go east. So you both hate the east wind. And so, here I am, confirmed old bachelor, likely to remain so.
Oh, come, Higgins. You know what I mean. If I'm to be in this business, I shall feel responsible for that girl. I hope it's understood that no advantage is to be taken of her position.
What? That thing? Sacred, I assure you. Well, she'll be a pupil, and teaching would be impossible unless pupils were sacred. I've taught scores of American millionaires how to speak English, the best-looking women in the world. I'm seasoned. They might as well be blocks of wood. I might as well be a block of wood. Well, is it all right, Mrs. Pearce?
I just wish to trouble you with a word, if I may.
Yes, certainly. Come in. Don't burn that, Mrs. Pearce. I'll keep it as a curiosity.
Oh, well, handle it carefully, sir, please. I have to promise her not to burn it. Although I'd better put it in the oven for a while.
Oh, yes, thank you. Well, what have you to say to me?
Well,
Am I in the way?
oh, no, not at all, sir, no. Miss Higgins, will you please be very particular about what you say before the...
Of course, I'm always particular about what I say. Why do you say this to me?
No, sir, you're not at all particular. Not when you've mislaid anything or you get impatient. Now, it doesn't matter before me. I'm used to it. But you really must not swear before the girl.
I swear, I never swear. I detest the habit. What the devil do you mean?
That's what I mean, sir. You swear a great deal too much. Now, I don't mind your damning and your blasting and your what the devil, who's the devil, where's the devil.
Yes, language from your lips, really.
But there is a certain word I must ask you not to use. The girl just used it herself because the bath was too hot. It begins with the same letter as bath. Now, she knows no better. She learned it at her mother's knee. But she must not hear it from your lips.
I cannot charge myself with ever having uttered it, except perhaps a moment of extreme and justifiable excitement.
Oh, only this morning, sir. You applied it to your boots, to the butter, and to the brown bread.
That. Mere alliteration, natural to a poet.
Yes, well, whatever you choose to call it, sir. I beg you not to let the girl hear you repeat it.
Oh, very well. Is that all?
No, sir. We must be very particular with this girl as to matters of personal cleanliness.
Yes, certainly. Quite right. Most important.
I mean, not to be slovenly about her dress or untidy in leaving things about.
Yes, I meant to draw your attention to that as well. You see, Pickering, it's these little things that matter. Take care of the pence, and the pounds shall take care of themselves, is as true of money as personal habits.
Yes, sir. Then, might I ask you not to come down to breakfast in your dressing gown? Or at any rate, not to use it as a napkin to the extent that you do, sir. Oh, and if you'd be so good as not to eat everything off the same plate, and to remember not to put the porridge saucepan down on the clean tablecloth. That'd be a much better example to the girl. You know, you took yourself a fish bone and jam and nothing.
I may do these things sometimes in absence of mine, but surely I don't do them habitually. By the way, my dressing gown smells most damnably of benzene.
No, if you will insist on wiping your fingers.
Oh, well, very well, very well. I shall wipe them in my hair in the future.
Thank you, Mr. Higgins.
Not at all, not at all. You're quite right. I shall be particularly careful before the girl. Is that all?
No, sir. Might you please use one of the Japanese dresses that you got back from abroad, because I really can't put her back into the old thing.
Certainly, anything you like. Is that all?
Thank you, sir. That's all.
You know, Pickering, a woman has the most extraordinary ideas about me. Here I am, a shy, diffident sort of man. I've never been able to feel really grown up and tremendous like other chaps. And yet she's firmly persuaded that I'm some sort of arbitrary, overbearing, bossy kind of person. I can't account for it.
If you please, sir, the trouble's beginning already. There's a dustman downstairs. Alfred Doolittle wants to see you. He says you've got his daughter here.
Phew, I say.
Send the blackguard up.
Oh, very well, sir.
He may not be a blackguard, Higgins.
Nonsense, of course he's a blackguard.
Well, whether he is or not, I'm afraid we shall have some trouble with
No, I think not. If there's any trouble, he shall have it with me, not I with him. And we are sure to get something interesting out of him.
About the girl?
No, I mean his dialect.
Alfred Doolittle, sir.
Professor Higgins.
Yeah. Morning.
Good morning, Governor.
Sit down.
I
you want, Doolittle?
I want my daughter. It's what I want.
I don't say you. You're her father, aren't you? You don't suppose anyone else wants her, do you? I'm glad to see you have some spark of family feeling left. She's upstairs. Take her away at once.
What?
Take her away. You suppose I'm going to keep your daughter for you?
Now, look here, Governor. Is this fair? Is it reasonable to take advantage of a man like this? The girl belongs to me. You got her? Where do I come in?
Your daughter had the audacity to come to my house and ask me to teach her how to speak properly so she can get a place in a shop. This gentleman and my housekeeper have been here all the time. How dare you come here and attempt to blackmail me?
No,
you sent her here on purpose.
Don't take a man up like that.
The police shall take it up with you. This is a plot to extort money by threat.
Have I asked you for a brass farthing? I leave it to the gentleman here. If I said a word about money...
What else did you come here for?
Well, what would a man come here for? Have a little compassion, Governor.
Alfred, did you put her up to it?
No, Governor, so help me, I never would. I take my Bible oath upon it. I ain't seen a girl these past 2 months.
How did you know she was here?
I tell you, Governor, if you'll only let me get a word in, I want to tell you, I'm willing to tell you, I'm waiting to tell you.
Pickering, this chap has a certain natural gift of rhetoric. Observe the rhythm of his native wood nose wild. I'm wanting to tell you, I'm willing to tell you, I'm waiting to tell you. Sentimental rhetoric, that's the Welsh strain in him. It also accounts for his mendacity and dishonesty.
Oh, please, Higgins, I'm West Country myself. How did you know the girl was here if you didn't send her?
Well, it's like this, Governor. The girl took a boy in a taxi, give him a bit of a jaunt. You know, the boy hung around here, hoping to get another ride home. The girl sent him for his luggage. I met him at the corner of Endell Street, Longacre.
Public house, yes?
Yeah. So, what's so then, Governor?
Do let him tell his story, Higgins.
Well, the boy told me what was up. Now, I asked you, Governor, what would be your feelings as a father? I told the boy, you bring the luggage to me. I said to
why
him,
didn't you go for it yourself?
oh, the landlady wouldn't have trusted me with it, Governor. She's that kind of woman. And the boy didn't trust me. I had to give him a penny, the little swine. I brought it here just to oblige you, like, to make myself agreeable.
How much luggage?
Oh, just a musical instrument, Governor. And there's some picture frames, trifle of jewelry, and a bird cage. She said she didn't want no clothes. What was I to think from that, Governor? I asked you, what was I to think?
So you came here to rescue her from worse than death, eh?
That's right, partner, just so.
But why did you bring her luggage if you intended to take her away?
Did I say anything about taking her away? Have I not?
You're going to take her away, double quick!
No, Governor, no, see here. Do I seem like the kind of man to step in my girl's life? She's got a new career opening up for her.
Mrs. Pearce, this is Eliza's father. He's come to take her away and give her to him.
No, there's been some mistake.
Sir, how can he? You told me to burn her clothes.
That's right. I can't carry the girl through the street like a blooming monkey now, can I?
You have put it to me that you want your daughter. Take your daughter. If she doesn't have any clothes, go buy her some.
Well, where's the clothes she brought here? Did I burn them or did the missus?
Oh, no.
If you please, I am the housekeeper. Now I've ordered some new clothes for your girl, and when they arrive, you can take her away. But you can wait in the kitchen. This way, please. Come on.
Hey, look here, Governor. We're both men of the world now, ain't we?
Oh. Men of the world, are we? Mrs. Pearce, you better go.
I think so indeed.
selling it back again, but what I might be open to an arrangement. You see, viewed in light of a young girl, she is a right handsome woman, but as a daughter, she's not worth a keep. So, I guess I put it to you straight. All I'm asking is my rights as a father, you know. And you're the last man on earth to expect me to give her away for free, because I can see that you're one of the straight sort. And so, how's £5 for you? And what's Eliza to me?
I think you ought to know, Mr. Doolittle, that Mr. Higgins' intentions are entirely honourable.
Oh, of course they are. God, of course they are. If I thought there wasn't, I'd asked 50.
Do you mean to say, careless rascal, that you'd sell your own daughter for £50?
Well, no. In a general way, no, I wouldn't. But to a fine gentleman like yourself, I'd do a good deal. I'd do sure.
Have you no morals, man?
Oh, you can't afford them, darling. Neither could you, if you was as poor as me. I don't mean any harm, governess, but if Eliza's coming in for a bit of this, why not me too?
I don't know, Pickering. It can be no question. As a matter of morals, it would be a positive crime to give this man a farthing, although I feel a sort of rough justice in this claim.
That's right, that's what I say, Governor. A father's heart, as it were.
Well, I know the feeling, but really it seems hardly right that you...
No, don't say that, Governor, don't say that. No. See, you don't understand. What am I, Governors both? I'm one of the undeserving poor. Think what that means to a man. When I go into a place and something's going on, it's always the same story. You're undeserving. You can't have it. But my needs are as great as the most deserving widow ever got money out of 6 different charities in 1 week for the death of the same husband. I don't need less than the deserving man. I need more. I don't eat less hearty than him, and I drinks a lot more. I need a bit of amusement, because I'm a thinking man. I need cheerfulness, and a song, and a band when I'm feeling low. They charge me the same for all of this as they charge the deserving man. What is middle-class morality? It's just an excuse for never giving me anything. So I ask you two gentlemen, don't play that game with me. I'll be straight with you. I ain't pretending to be deserving. I'm undeserving. And I'm gonna go home being undeserving. Truth is, I like it. Now, would you two gentlemen take advantage of a man's nature to do him out of the price of his own daughter that he brought up and raised by the sweat of his own brow until she's grown up big enough to be interesting to you two gentlemen? Is £5 too much? I'll put it to you, and I'll leave it to you.
Pickering, if we were to take this man in hand for 3 months, he could have a choice between a seat in the cabinet and a popular pulpit in Wales.
What do you say to that, Doolittle?
No, thank you. I've seen all the preachers and the prime ministers, because I'm a thinking man. I'm into politics and religion, social reform, the same as any other game. And I tell you, it's a dog's life, any way you look at it. Now, undeserving poverty is my line. It's the only social station in life that has any ginger in it, to my way.
Suppose we must give him a fiver.
He'll make a bad use of it, I'm afraid.
Oh, no, don't say that, Governor. You don't have to worry that I'll waste it and save it and put it by. There won't be a penny of it left by Monday. go to work. Say this always. Just one good job for me and the missus. Giving a little pleasure to ourselves, employment to others, and to you the satisfaction of knowing it ain't been thrown away. You couldn't spend it better.
This is irresistible. Let's give him 10.
Oh, no, governors. The little woman wouldn't have the heart to spare 10, and perhaps I shouldn't give now. $10, that's a lot of money. It makes a man prudent like, and there goes happiness. You just give me what I asked for. Not a penny more, not a penny less.
Why don't you marry that missus of yours? I'd rather draw the line at encouraging that sort of immorality.
Well, you tell her that. I'm willing. It's me that suffers by it. Oh, I got no hold on it. I gotta make myself agreeable. I gotta give her things. I gotta buy her clothes, something sinful. Now, I'm a slave to that woman just because I'm not her lawful husband. Now, Governor, you catch her want to marry me. You take my advice, Governor. You marry Eliza. Well, she's young and don't know no better. If you wait too later, you'll be sorry. If you do it now, she'll be sorry. But better you than she, because you're the man. She's only a woman. She don't know how to be happy anyhow.
Pickering, if we listen to this man any longer, we shall have no convictions left. I think you said £5?
Yes, right.
Sure you won't take 10?
Not now. Another time, Governor.
There you are.
Thank you, Governor. And good morning. Excuse me, miss.
Damn, don't
Blimey,
get
it's
my
Eliza!
Joe.
I look silly.
Silly?
Now, sir, don't say anything to make the girl conceited about herself.
Yes, of course. Damn silly.
Please, sir.
I mean, extremely silly.
Well, I should look all right with my hat on.
Oh.
By George, a new fashion, and it ought to look horrible.
I never knew she'd clean up. She's as good looking as that. She's a credit to me, ain't she?
Oh, I tell you, it's easy to clean up here. Hot and cold water on tap, just as much as you like there is. Woolly towels there is, and a towel all so hot it burns your fingers. Soft brushes to scrub yourself, and a little wooden bowl of soap smelling like primroses. But now I know why ladies are so clean. Washing's a treat for them. Wish they saw what it is for the like of me.
I'm glad the bathroom met with your approval.
Well, it didn't. Not all of it, and I don't care who hears me say it. Mrs. Pearce knows.
What was wrong, Mrs. Pearce?
No, nothing, sir. It doesn't matter.
I'd have in mind to break it, I did. Didn't know which way to look, but I hung a towel over it.
Over what?
The looking glass, sir.
Doolittle, you have brought your daughter up too strictly.
Maid, I never brought her up at all, except to give her the lick of a strap every now and again. No, she's just not accustomed to it, that's all that is. But she'll soon pick up your free and easy ways.
No, I'm a good girl, I am, and I'm going to pick up no free
Eliza, if you say you're a good girl one more time, your father shall take you home with him.
No, not him. You don't know my father. All he come here for was to touch it for some money to get drunk on.
Well, what am I supposed to use the money for? To put into the church plate?
Yeah,
Don't give me none of your lip. Don't let me catch you giving any of it to this gentleman either. Or you'll hear from me, you'll probably see.
Have you any more advice to give your daughter before you go? Your blessing, for instance?
No, I ain't the kind of mug to let on to my kids all I know myself. And you want Eliza's mind improved. You do it yourself with a strap. So,
Stop! You come regularly to see your daughter. It's your duty, you know. My brother's a clergyman. He can help you in your talks with her.
certainly I'll come. Not just this week, sir. I have some business at a distance, But later on, you may depend on it. Good afternoon, Clara.
This way.
Good afternoon, ma'am.
Don't you believe the old liar? He'd as soon you set a bulldog on him as a clergyman. Yeah, you won't see him again in a hurry.
I don't want to. Do you, Eliza?
No, not me. No, I don't want never to see him again. He's a disgrace to me. He has collected dust instead of working at a trade.
What is his trade, Eliza?
Well, talking money out of other people's pockets into his own. His profit trades in Albion. And he works at it sometimes too for exercising. He makes good money at it. And wait, ain't you gonna call me Miss Doolittle no more?
Oh, my apologies, Miss Doolittle. It was a slip of the tongue.
No, it's all right. Only it sounded so genteel. Oh, I should just like to take a taxi to the corner of Tottenham Court Road and get out there and tell it to wait for me, just to put the other girls in their places and wouldn't talk to them, you know.
Better wait till we get you something really fashionable.
Besides, you shouldn't cut your old friends out now that you've risen in the world. That's what we call snobbery.
You shouldn't call the like of them my friends now, I should hope. They put it to me often enough with their ridicule when they had the chance, and now I mean to get a bit of my own back. But if I'm to have some fashionable clothes, I'll wait. Oh, I should like to have some. Mrs. Pearce tells me you're going to get me clothes to wear in bed at night, different from what I wear in the daytime. Although it do seem a waste of money when you could get something to show, and besides, I could never fancy
The new things have come for you to try on. Don't rush your bag, girl! Eliza!
Pickering, taken on a stiff job.
Higgins? We have.
Henry, what are you doing here today? It's my at-home day. You promised not to come.
Don't bother.
Go have that one.
I know, Mother, I came on purpose.
You mustn't, dear. I'm serious. You'll set all my house friends. They stop coming whenever they see you.
Oh, nonsense. I know I have no small talk, but people don't mind.
Oh, don't they? Small talk indeed, Henry. What about the large talk? Really, dear, you mustn't say.
No, I must. I have a job for you, a phonetic job.
No use, dear. Can't get round your vowels. Though I like to get you pretty postcards and your pattern shorthand, I always have to read your copies of ordinary writing you so thoughtfully sent me.
Well, it's not a phonetic job.
You said it was.
Not your part of it. I've picked up a girl.
Does this mean that some girl has picked you up?
Not at all. I don't mean a love affair.
What a pity.
Why?
Well, you never fall in love with anyone under the age of 45. When will you realize that there's some rather nice-looking young women about?
I can't be bothered with young women. My idea of a lovable woman is something as like as you as possible. I shall never get into the way of seriously liking young women. Some habits lie too deep to be changed. Besides, they're all idiots.
Do you know what you would do if you really...
Oh, bother! What? Marry, I suppose.
No. Stop fidgeting and take your hands out of your pockets. That's a good boy. Now, tell me about the girl.
She's coming to see you.
I don't remember asking her.
No, you didn't. I asked her. If you knew her, you wouldn't have asked her.
Indeed. Why?
Well, it's like this. She's a common flower girl. I picked her off the curbstone.
I invited her at my at-home.
That'll be all right. I've taught her to speak properly, and she has strict orders as to her behaviour. She's to stick to two subjects, the weather and everybody's health. Fine day, how do you do, you know? And not to let herself go on things in general, that'll be safe.
Ah, that'll be safe. To talk about our health, about our insides, perhaps about our outsides. How could you be so silly, Henry?
Well, we must talk about something. She'll be all right, don't you fuss. Pickering's in it with me. I have a sort of bet that I can pass her off as a duchess in 6 months. I started some months ago, and she's getting on like a house on fire. I shall win my bet. She has a quick ear, and she's been easier to teach than my middle-class pupils because she's had to learn a complete new language. She talks English almost as you talk French.
That's satisfactory, at all events.
Well, it is and it isn't.
What does that mean?
But you see, I've got the pronunciation all right, but you must consider not only how a girl pronounces, but what she pronounces, and that's where I see...
This is a Miss Enysford-Hill.
Oh, Lord.
How do you do? How do you do?
My son, Henry.
Oh, your celebrated son. I have so longed to meet you, Professor Higgins.
Delighted.
Oh,
How do you do?
I've seen you before somewhere. I haven't the ghost of a notion where, but I've heard your voice. Doesn't matter, sit down.
I'm sorry to say that my celebrated son has no manners. You mustn't mind him.
No, I don't.
not at all.
Oh, am I being rude? I don't mean to be.
You're not Pickering.
How do you do, Mrs. Higgins?
It's very good of you to come. Do you know Mrs. Enysford-Hill? Miss Enysford-Hill?
Has Henry told you what we've come for?
We were interrupted, damn it.
Henry! Henry, really?
Are we in the way?
No, you couldn't have come, unfortunately. We want you to meet a friend of ours.
Yes, by George, we want 2 or 3 people. You'll do as well as anyone else.
Wonderful.
Mr. Enysford-Hill.
Oh, God of heaven, another of them.
How do you do?
Very glad that you could make it. Do you know Colonel Pickering?
How do you do?
I don't think you know my son, Professor Higgins.
How do you do?
I'll take my oath. I've met you somewhere before. Where was it?
I don't think so.
Don't matter. Sit down. Well, here we all are anyhow, and now, what the devil are we going to talk about until Eliza comes?
Henry, you are the life and soul of the Royal Society soiree, but really you're rather trying on more commonplace occasions.
Oh, am I? Very sorry, I suppose I am, you know.
I sympathise. I haven't any small talk. If only people would be frank and say what they really think.
No, Lord forbid.
But why?
Well, what they think they ought to think is bad enough. What they really think would break up the whole show. Do you suppose it would be really agreeable if I were to come out now with what I really think?
Why is it so very cynical?
Oh, cynical. Who the dickens said it would be cynical? I mean, it wouldn't be decent.
Oh, I'm sure you don't mean that, Mr. Higgins.
Well, we're all savages, more or less. We're supposed to be cultured and civilized, to know all about poetry and philosophy and art and science. But how many of us know even the meanings of these names? What do you know of poetry? What do you know of science? What does he know of art or science or anything else? The devil, do you imagine I know of philosophy?
Or manners, Henry.
Miss Doolittle.
Oh, here she is, Mother.
How do you do, Mrs. Higgins? Mr. Higgins told me I might come.
Quite right. I'm very glad indeed to see you.
How do you do, Miss Doolittle?
Colonel Pickering, is it not?
I feel sure we have met before, Miss Doolittle. I remember your eyes.
How do you do?
My daughter, Clara.
How do you do?
How do you do?
Well, I've certainly had a pleasure.
My son, Freddy.
How do you do?
Oh, yes, by George, it all comes back to me. Come. What a damn thing.
Henry, please get off my writing table. You'll break it.
Sorry.
Rain, do you think?
The shallow depression in the west of these islands is moving slowly in an easterly direction. There are no indications of any great changes in the barometrical situation.
Oh, how awfully funny!
What is so funny about that, young man? I Bet I got it right.
Keeley!
I'm sure I hope it won't turn cold. There's so much influenza about. It runs right through my family regularly every spring.
My aunt died of influenza. So they said. But it's my belief they done the old woman in.
Done her in?
Yes, Lord love you. Why should she die of influenza? She come through diphtheria right enough the year before. I saw her with my own eyes. Fairly blue with it, she was. They all thought she was dead, but my father, he kept ladling gin down her throat because she came to so sudden that she bit the bowl off the spoon.
Dear me.
Yes, what call would a woman with that strength in her have to die of influenza? And what become of her new straw hat that should have come to me, Somebody pinched it. And what I say is, them as pinched it, done her in.
What does doing her in mean?
Oh, that's the new small talk. To do someone in means to kill them.
Surely you don't believe that your aunt was killed?
Do I not? Them she lived with would have killed her for a hat pin, let alone a hat.
But it can't have been right for your father to pour spirits down her throat like that. It could have killed her.
Oh, not her. Jean was mother's milk to her. Besides, he poured so much down his own throat that he knew the good of it.
Do you mean that he drank?
Drank? My word, something chronic.
How dreadful for you.
Oh, it never did him no harm what I could see, but then he did not keep it up regular, on the burst, as you might say, from time to time, and always more agreeable when he had a drop in. When he was out of work, my mother used to give him 4 pence and tell him not to come back until he drunk himself cheerful and loving like. Oh, there's lots of women has to make their husbands drunk to make them fit to live with. You see, it's like this. When a man has a bit of a conscience, it always takes him when he's sober, and then it makes him low-spirited. A drop of booze just takes that right off and makes him happy. Here, what are you sniggering at?
The new small talk. You do it so awfully well.
Well, if I was doing it proper, then what was you laughing at? Have I said something I oughtn't?
Not at all, Miss Doolittle.
Well, that's a mercy, anyhow. What I always say. Well, I'm afraid I must be going. So pleased to have met you. Goodbye. Goodbye. Goodbye, Colonel Pickering.
Goodbye, Miss Doolittle.
Goodbye, all.
Are you walking across the park, Mr. Little? If so...
Walk, not bloody lightly. I am going in a taxi.
Well, I really can't get used to the new ways.
Oh, it's all right, Mama, quite all right. People will think we never go anywhere or see anyone if you're so old-fashioned.
Well, I dare say I am very old-fashioned, but I do hope you won't begin using that expression, Clara. I have grown accustomed to hearing you talk of men as rotters and calling everything filthy and beastly, which I think is horrible and unladylike. But this last is really too much. Don't you think so, Colonel Pickering?
Oh, don't ask me. I've been away in India for several years, and manners have changed so much that sometimes I don't know whether I'm at a respectable dinner table or in a ship's forecastle.
Oh, it's all a matter of habit. There's no right or wrong in it, or nobody means anything by it. And it's so quaint, and gives such a smart emphasis to things that are in themselves not very witty. I find the new small talk delightful, and quite innocent.
After that, I think it's time for us to go.
Oh yes, we still have 3 at-homes to go to still. Goodbye, Mrs. Higgins. Goodbye, Colonel Pickering. Goodbye, Professor Higgins.
Goodbye. Be sure to try on the new small talk at the 3 at-homes. Don't be nervous about it. Pitch it in strong.
I will. Goodbye. Such nonsense, all this early Victorian prudery.
Such damned nonsense.
Oh,
Such bloody nonsense! Oh, Mother!
Well, I ask you. Oh, goodbye.
Goodbye. Would you like to meet Miss Doolittle again?
Yes, most awfully, thanks.
Oh, you know my taste.
Yes, thanks awfully. Goodbye.
Goodbye, Mr. Higgins.
Goodbye.
It's no use. I shall never be able to bring myself to use that expression.
Oh, don't it? It's not compulsory. You'll get on quite well without it.
Only Clara gets so down on me if I'm not positively reeking with the latest slang. Well, goodbye.
Goodbye.
You mustn't mind Clara. We are so poor. She gets so few parties. Poor child. She doesn't really know. But the boy is nice, don't you think?
Quite so. I shall always be very glad indeed to see you.
Thank you, dear. Goodbye.
Well, is Eliza presentable?
You silly boy. Of course she's not presentable. She's a product of your art and of her dressmakers. But if you suppose for one moment that she doesn't give herself away in every sentence she utters, you must be perfectly correct about her.
Oh, but don't you think something might be done? I mean, something to eliminate the sanguinary elements from her conversation.
Not as long as she's in Henry's hands.
You mean to say my language isn't proper?
No, dear. It would be quite proper on a canal barge.
What?
But it would not be proper for her at a garden party.
I must say, really.
Come, Higgins. You must know yourself.
What?
Well, I haven't heard such language as yours since we used to interview the volunteers down at Hyde Park 20 years ago.
Well, very well. I suppose I don't always talk like a bishop.
Colonel Pickering, would you tell me what the exact state of things is in Wimpole Street?
Well, I have come to live there with Henry. We work together into my Indian dialects, and we think it's more convenient.
Quite so, I know all about that. It's an excellent arrangement. But, tell me about the girl. Where does she live?
Lives with us, of course. Where would she live?
But on what terms? Is she a servant? If not, what is she?
I think I know what you mean, Mrs. Higgins.
So dash me if I do. I've had to work at the girl for 3 months to get her to a present pitch. Besides, she's useful. She knows where my things are and reminds me of my appointments and so forth.
How does the housekeeper get on with her?
Mrs. Pearce, she's jolly glad to get so much taken off her hands, for before Eliza came, she had to find my things and keep track of my appointments. And although she has some silly bee in her bonnet about Eliza, she keeps saying, "You don't think, sir?" Doesn't she, Pick?
Yes, that's the formula. You don't think so? That's the end of every conversation about Eliza.
As if I ever stopped thinking about that girl and her confounded vowels and consonants. I'm worn out thinking about her and her lips, and her teeth, and her tongue. Not to mention her soul, which is the quaintest of the lot.
You certainly are a pretty pair of babies playing with your live doll.
Playing? The hardest job I've ever tackled. Make no mistake about that, Mother. Although, you have no idea how interesting it is to take a human being and change her into quite a different human being by creating a new speech for her. It's filling the deepest gulf that separates class from class, and soul from soul.
Yes, it's enormously interesting. I assure you, my dear Mrs. Higgins, we take Eliza very seriously. Every week, every day almost, there is some new change. We keep plenty of records, dozens of gramophone discs and photographs.
Oh yes, by George, it's the most absorbing experiment I've ever tackled. She regularly fills up our lives, doesn't she, Pick?
We're always talking Eliza.
Teaching Eliza.
Dressing Eliza.
Inventing new Elizas. You know, she has the most extraordinary quickness of ear, just like Clara. I've tried her on all sorts of
classical music,
continental dialects, African dialects, Hottentot.
She plays everything
It
right
took
off.
me years to get hold of. She picks up like a shot. She's been at it her entire life.
She never as much as touched the piano. I beg your pardon.
Sorry, when Pickering starts shouting, nobody can get a word in edgeways.
Be quiet, Henry! Colonel Pickering, don't you realize that when Eliza walked into Wimpole Street, something walked in with her? problem.
Oh, I see. The problem of how to pass her off as a lady.
I'll solve that problem. I've half solved it already.
You two infinitely stupid male creatures. The problem of what is to be done with her afterwards.
I see nothing in that. She'll be fine with all the advantages I've given her.
The advantages of that poor woman who was here just now? The manners and habits that disqualify a fine lady from earning her own living without giving her a fine lady's income? Is that what you mean?
That will be all right, Mrs.
Yes,
Higgins.
we'll find her some light employment.
She's happy enough. Don't you worry about her. Goodbye.
Anyhow, there's no use bothering about it now. The thing's done.
There are plenty of openings. We'll do what's right. Goodbye.
Sorry, Mother. Let's take her down to the Shakespeare exhibition at Elsford.
Yes, let her remarks will be delicious.
We'll have her mimic all the people for us when we get home.
Really?
Men.
I say, Mrs. Pearce will row if we leave these things lying about in the drawing room.
Chuck them over the banister into the hall. She'll find them there in the morning and put them away all right. She'll think we were drunk.
We are slightly. Are there any letters?
I didn't look. I wonder where the devil my slippers are.
Only circulars and this coroneted billet due for you.
Money lender. No, what an evening. Rude, silly tomfoolery. They're there, aren't they?
Well, I feel a bit tired. It's been a long day. The garden party, the dinner party, and the opera. Rather too much of a good thing. But you won your bet, Higgins. Eliza did the trick, and something to spare, eh?
Oh, thank God it's over.
Were you nervous at the garden party? I was. Eliza didn't seem a bit nervous.
No, she wasn't nervous. I knew she'd be all right. No, it's this strain of the putting the job through all these months installed on me. It was interesting enough at first while we were still at phonetics, but after that I got deadly sick of it. If I hadn't backed myself to do it, I should have chucked the whole thing up 2 months ago. It's a silly notion. The whole thing's been a bore.
Oh, come, the garden party was frightfully exciting. My heart began beating like anything.
Oh, yes. For the first 3 minutes, when I saw we were going to win hands down, I felt like a bear in a cage, hanging about, doing nothing. Dinner was worse. Sitting gorging for over an hour with nobody but a damn fool and a fashionable woman to talk to. I tell you, Pickering, never again for me. No more artificial duchesses. The whole thing's been simple purgatory.
You've never been broken in properly to the social routine. I quite enjoy dipping into it occasionally myself. It makes me feel young again. Anyhow, it was a great success, an immense success. I was frightened once or twice because Eliza was doing it so well. You see, lots of real people can't do it at all. They're such fools that they think style comes by nature to people in their position, and so they never learn. There's always something professional about doing a thing superlatively well.
Yes, that's what drives me mad. Silly people don't know their own silly business. However, it's over and done with. Now I can go to bed at last without dreading tomorrow.
I think I shall turn in too. Still, it's been a great occasion. A triumph for you. Good night.
Good night. Turn out the lights, Eliza. Tell Mrs. Pearce not to make coffee for me in the morning. I'll take tea instead. dangerous insect, I wanted. What did you throw those slippers at me for?
Because I wanted to smash your face in. I'd like to kill you, you selfish brute. Why didn't you just leave me where you picked me out on in the gutter? Oh, you thank God it's all over, and now you can just throw me back there again, do you?
Creatures nervous after all. Ah! Would you? Close it, you cat! How dare you show your temper to me? Sit down and be quiet.
What's to become of me? What's to become of me?
How the devil do I know what's to become of you? What does it matter? What becomes of you?
Oh, you don't care. I know you don't care. You wouldn't care if I was dead. I'm nothing to you. Not so much as them slippers.
Those slippers.
Those slippers. Do you think it made any difference now?
Why have you begun going on like this? May I ask whether you complain of your treatment here?
No.
Has anyone behaved badly to you? Colonel Pickering, Mrs. Pearce, any of the servants?
No.
I presume you don't pretend that I've treated you badly.
No.
Glad to hear it. Perhaps you're tired after the strain of the day. Will you have a glass of champagne?
No. Thank you.
This has been coming on for some days. I suppose it was natural to be anxious about the garden party. But that's all over now. There's nothing more to worry about.
No. No, nothing more for you to worry about. God, I wish I was dead.
Why? In heaven's name, why? Listen to me, Eliza. All this irritation is purely subjective.
I don't understand. I'm too ignorant.
It's only imagination. Low spirits, nothing else. Nobody's hurting you, nothing's wrong. You go to bed like a good girl and sleep it off. Have a little cry and say your prayers. It'll make you feel comfortable.
I heard your prayers. Thank God it's all over.
Well, don't you thank God it's all over. Now you're free and can do what you like.
What am I fit for? What have you left me fit for? Where am I to go? What am I to do? What's to become of me?
Oh, that's what's worrying you, is it? I shouldn't bother about that if I were you. I should imagine you won't have much trouble settling yourself somewhere or other, although you quite realise we're going away. You might marry, you know? See, Eliza, all men are not confirmed old bachelors like me and the Colonel. Most men are marrying sort, poor devils. And you're not bad looking. It's quite a pleasure to look at you sometimes. Not now, of course, because you're crying and looking as ugly as the very devil. But when you're all right, quite yourself, you're what I should call attractive. That is, to people in the marrying line, you understand? Now, you go to bed. Have a good, nice rest. And then get up and look at yourself in the glass, and you won't feel so cheap. I dare say my mother could find somebody, some chap or other, who'd do very well.
We were above that at the corner of Tottenham Court Road.
What do you mean?
I sold flowers. I didn't sell myself. Now you've made a lady of me. I'm not fit to sell anything else.
Oh, tosh, Eliza. Don't you insult human relations by bringing all this conduct about buying and selling into it. You needn't to marry a fellow if you don't like him.
What else am I to do?
Lots of things. How about your old idea of a florist? Pickering can set you up in one. He's lots of money. Although, you'll have to pay for all those togs you've been wearing today. And that, with the hire of the jewellery, will make a big hole in 200 pounds. Aye. 6 months ago, you would have thought it the millennium to have a flower shop of your own. Come now. You'll be all right. I must clear off to bed now. I'm devilishly sleepy. Came down here for something. I forget what it was.
Your slippers?
Oh, yes. Right, you shied them at me.
Before you go, sir, do my clothes belong to me or to Colonel Pickering?
What the devil use would they be to Pickering?
You might want them for the next girl you pick up to experiment on.
Is that how you feel, Dorset?
I don't want to hear anything more about that. All I want to know is whether anything belongs to me. My own clothes were burnt.
What is the matter? Why need you to stop
to know what I may take with me. I don't want to be accused of stealing.
Stealing? You shouldn't have said that, Eliza. That shows a want of feeling.
I'm sorry. I'm only a common, ignorant girl, and in my station I have to be careful. There can't be any feeling between the like of you and the like of me. Please, will you just tell me what belongs to me and what doesn't?
Oh, you may take the whole damned houseful if you like, except the jewels, they're hired. Will that satisfy you?
Stop, please. Would you take these up to your room and hold on to them? I don't want to run the risk of their being missing.
At the moment. These belong to me instead of the jeweler. I'd ram them down your ungrateful throat.
But this ring isn't the jeweler's. It's the one you bought for me in Brighton. And I don't want it now.
Infamous creature, how dare you accuse me of such a thing? It's you who have hit me. You wounded me in the heart.
Well, I'm glad. Got a bit of my own back anyhow.
You have caused me to lose my tether, a thing that has hardly ever happened before.
Oh.
I prefer to say nothing more tonight. I'm going to bed.
Well, you best tell Mrs. Pearce about the coffee, for she won't be told by me.
Well, damn Mrs. Pearce, and damn the coffee, and damn you, and damn my own folly for having lavished such hard-earned knowledge and the treasure of my regard and intimacy on a heartless gutter snipe.
A heartless gutter snipe. Oh.
Mr. Henry's downstairs.
Well, send them up.
They're telephoning the police, I think.
What?
She's in quite a state, Mom. I thought I'd better tell you.
If you had told me that Mr. Henry was not in a state, I'd be more surprised. Tell him to come up once they finish with the police. I suppose he's lost something.
Yes, Mom.
Go upstairs and tell Miss Doolittle that Mr. Henry and the Colonel are here. Ask her not to come down till I send for her.
Yes, Mom.
Look here, Mother. There's a confounded thing.
Good morning, dear. Yes, what is it?
Eliza's bolted.
You must have frightened her.
Frightened her? Nonsense, right? She was left last night, as usual, to turn out the lights and all that, and instead of going to bed, she changed her clothes and went right off. Her bed wasn't slept in. She came in a cab for her things before 7 this morning, and that fool, Mrs. Pearce, let her have them without telling me a word about it. What am I to do?
Do without, I'm afraid, Henry. The girl has a perfect right to leave if she chooses.
I can't find anything. I don't know what appointments I've got.
Good morning, Mrs. Higgins. Has Henry told you?
What does that arse of an inspector say? Have you offered a reward?
You don't mean to tell me that you sent the police after Eliza?
Oh, of course. What are the police for? What else could we do?
The inspector made a lot of difficulties. I rather think he suspected us of some improper purpose.
Well, of course he did. What right have you to send it, to give the girl's name to the police as if you were a thief or lost umbrella or something? Really?
We want to find her.
We can't let her go like this. Mrs. Higgins, what were we to do?
You have no more sense, either of you, than 2 children. Why do you think that you can send the police after Eliza and that she would just sit there and let you do that? That's crazy. Why would you think that? Why the hell would you think that?
Mr. Henry, a gentleman wants to see you.
Father, I can't see anyone now. Who is it?
Uncle Street. He's a gentleman. Doolittle, sir.
Doolittle? Do you mean the dustman?
Yes, the dustman. No, not the dustman. He's a gentleman.
By George, Pick, it's some relative of hers that she's gone to, somebody we know nothing about. Show him up, quick.
Yes, sir.
Genteel relative, now we shall hear something.
Do you know any of her people?
Well, only her father, the fellow we told you about.
Mr. Doolittle.
See here? Do you see this? You've done this.
Done what, man?
This, I tell you. Look at this hat. Look at this coat.
Has Eliza been buying you clothes?
Eliza? She not a hat. Why would Eliza buy me clothes?
Good morning, Mr. Doolittle. Won't you sit down?
Oh, beg your pardon, ma'am. I have been so full of what has happened to me, I can't think of anything else.
What the dickens has happened to you?
It had only happened to me. Anything might happen to anybody. There's nobody to blame but Providence. This is something that you done to me. Yes, you, Henry Higgins.
Have you found Eliza? That's the point.
She lost?
Yes.
Oh, you have all the luck, haven't you? No, I haven't found her. But she'll find me soon enough. Now, after what you've done to me.
But what has my son done to you, Mr. Doolittle?
Ruined me.
What?
Destroyed my confidence, tied me up, and delivered me into the hands of middle-class morality.
You're raving, you're mad, you're drunk. I gave you £5. After that, I had 2 conversations with you at £0.5 an hour. I've never seen you since.
Oh, mad am I?
Yes.
Drunk am I? Well, answer me this. Did you or did you not write a letter to an old blighter in America who was giving away millions to found moral relief societies all over the world and wanted you to invent a universal language for him?
Ezra D. Wanafella, he's dead.
Oh, yes, he is dead, and I'm done for. And did you or did you not tell him in that letter that, to your mind, the most original moralist extant in England this date is one Alfred Doolittle, a common dustman?
After your last visit, I remember making a silly joke of the kind.
Well, them words is in his will as a result of your silly joke, Henry Higgins, whereby he leaves to me 1 share in his Wanafella moral relief pre-digested cheese fund worth $3,000 a year on condition that I lecture as often as requested and not less than 6 times a year.
Devil he does. What a laugh.
A safe thing for you, Doolittle. They won't ask you twice.
It's not the lecturing I mind. It's making a gentleman of me. Who gave you the right to make me a gentleman? I was happy, I was free, I touched everyone for money, same as I touched you, Henry Higgins, and now everyone touches me for money. A year ago, I had no relative in the world, except 2 or 3. They never talked to me. Now I've got 50, and not a decent week's wages among a lot of them. I have to think for others, and not for myself. That's middle-class morality. You say you're worried of Eliza. Oh, don't you be so anxious. She's probably on my doorstep right now. She who could easily earn all her needs if I weren't respectable. And the next one to touch me will be you, Henry Higgins. I'll have to learn middle-class language from me, you, instead of speaking proper English. That's what your son has brought me to.
But, my dear Mr. Doolittle, you need not suffer this if you really are in earnest. Nobody can force you to accept this bequest. You can repudiate it. Isn't that so, Colonel Pickering?
I believe so.
That's the tragedy of it, man. I haven't the nerve. If I did say chuck it, I'm intimidated, man. what I am. What there be left for me but the workhouse? And I haven't the nerve for the workhouse in my old age. Intimidated, broke down, bawled out. Happier men than me will call for my dust and touch me for a tip. And I'll look on, and I won't be able to do a thing. And that's what I've come to.
Well, very glad to see you won't do anything foolish, Mr. Doolittle. For this solves the problem of Eliza's future. You can provide for her now.
Oh, I'm expected to provide for everybody. Oh, £3,000 a year.
Nonsense. He can't provide for her. He shan't provide for her. I paid him £5 for her. She doesn't belong to him. Doolittle, either you're an honest man or a rogue.
A little of both, Henry. Like the rest of us. A little of both.
You took the money for the girl, and you have no right to take her as well.
Henry, don't be absurd. If you really want to know where Eliza is, she's upstairs.
Upstairs? Oh, then I shall jolly soon fetch her downstairs.
Quiet, Henry, sit down! Sit down, dear, and listen to me.
Oh, very well, very well. You might have told me this half an hour ago.
Eliza came to me this morning, partly walking about in a rage, partly trying to throw herself into a river and being afraid too, and partly in the Carlton Hotel. She told me of the brutal way you two treated her.
What? My dear Mrs. Higgins, she's been telling you stories. We didn't treat her brutally. We hardly said a word to her, and we parted on particularly good terms. Higgins, did you bully her after I went to bed?
Oh, just the other way about. She threw my slippers in my face. She behaved in the most outrageous way. I never gave her the slightest provocation. The slippers came bang into my face the moment I entered the room, before I had uttered a word. She used perfectly awful language.
But why? What did we do to her?
I think I know pretty well what you did. The girl is naturally rather affectionate, isn't she, Miss Duke?
Oh, yes, she's very tender-hearted, man. She takes after me.
So, well, she had become attached to you both. She had worked very hard for you, Henry. I don't think you quite realize what anything in the nature of brain work means to a girl like that. Well, it seems that when the great day of trial came, and she did this wonderful thing for you, without making a single mistake, you two sat there, without saying a word to her, but instead talked together of how glad you were it was all over, and how you'd become bored with the whole thing. And then you were surprised that she threw your slippers at you. I should have thrown my fire irons at
We said nothing except that we were tired and wanted to go to bed, didn't we, Pick?
That was all?
Quite sure.
Really? That was all?
You didn't thank her, or pet her, or admire her, or tell her how splendid she'd been.
She knew all about that. We didn't make speeches, if that's what you mean.
Perhaps we were a little inconsiderate. Is she very angry?
Well, I'm afraid she won't return to Wimple Street, especially now that Mr. Doolittle is able to keep up the position you have thrust upon her. But she's quite willing to meet you two on friendly terms and let bygones be bygones.
Oh, is she? By George! Oh!
If you promise to behave yourself, Henry, behave yourself, I will ask her to come down. If not, go home, for you have wasted quite enough of my time.
Oh, right, very well. Pick, you behave yourself. Let us put on our best Sunday manners for this creature that we picked out of the mud.
Oh, come on, Henry Higgins. Have some respect for my feelings as a middle-class man.
Remember your promise, Henry. Mr. Doolittle, would you mind stepping out on the balcony? I don't want Eliza to have the shock of your news until she's made it up with these two gentlemen.
Certainly, man. Whatever I can do to help Henry to keep her off my hands.
Will you send Miss Doolittle down, please?
Yes, ma'am.
his best, Mrs. Higgins.
Henry! You don't look at all nice in that attitude.
I was not trying to look nice, Mother.
Doesn't matter, dear. I only wanted you to speak.
Why?
Well, you can't speak and whistle at the same time.
Well, where the devil is that girl? Are we to wait here all night?
How do you do, Professor Higgins? Are you quite well?
Am I?
Of course you are. You are never ill. Colonel Pickering, so good to see you again. Quite chilly this morning, isn't it?
Don't you dare try this game on me. I taught it to you, and it doesn't take me in. Get up and come home, and don't be a fool.
Very nicely put, Henry. No woman could resist such an invitation.
You let her alone, Mother. Let her speak for herself. You shall jolly soon see whether she has an idea I have been put into her head or a word I have been put into her mouth.
Yes.
I tell you, I have created this thing out of the squashed cabbage leaves of Covent Garden, and now she pretends to play the fine lady with me.
Yes, dear, but you'll sit down, won't you?
Will you throw me out altogether now that the experiment is over, Colonel Pickering?
Oh, no, you mustn't think of it as an experiment. It shocks me somehow.
Oh, but I'm only a squashed cabbage leaf.
No.
But I owe so much to you that I should be very unhappy if you forgot me.
It's very kind of you to say so, Miss Doolittle.
And it's not because you paid for my dresses. I know you're generous to everyone with money, but it was from you that I learnt really nice manners, and that is what makes one a lady, isn't it? If you see, it was so very difficult for me with the example of Professor Higgins always before me. I was brought up to be just like him, unable to control myself, prone to swearing on the slightest provocation, and I should never have known that ladies and gentlemen didn't behave that way if you hadn't been there.
Well, that's only his way, you know. He doesn't mean it.
Oh, of course. I didn't mean it when I was a flower girl, but you see, I did it, and that's what makes the difference after all.
No doubt. Still, he taught you to speak, and I couldn't have done that, you know.
Of course, that is his profession.
Damnation.
It was just like learning to dance in a fashionable way. There was really nothing more than that in it, but do you know what began my real education?
What?
It was your calling me Miss Doolittle on that first day when I came to Wimple Street. That was the beginning of self-respect for me. And there were 100 other little things that you never noticed because they came so naturally to you. Things about taking off your hat and opening doors and all this other...
Oh, that was nothing.
Yes. Things that showed that you thought and felt about me as if I was something better than a scullery maid. Although I know you would have been just the same to a scullery maid if she had been in the drawing room. You never took off your boots in the dining room when I was there.
Oh, you mustn't mind that. Higgins takes his boots off all over the place.
Yes, of course. I'm not blaming him. It is his way, isn't it? But it made such a difference to me that you didn't do it. You see, apart from the things that anyone can pick up, the proper way of speaking and dressing and so on, the difference between a lady and a flower girl is not how she behaves. It's how she's treated. And I shall always be a flower girl to Professor Higgins because he's always treated me as a flower girl and always will, but I know I can be a lady to you because you've always treated me as a lady and always will.
Don't grind your teeth, Henry.
Well, this is really very nice of you, Miss Doolittle.
I should like you to call me Eliza now, if you would.
Thank you. Eliza, of course.
And I should like Professor Higgins to call me Miss Doolittle.
I'll see you damned first.
Henry! Henry!
Why don't you slang back at him? Don't stand it. It would do him a lot of good.
Oh, I can't. I could have done it once, but now I can't go back to it. Last night when I was wandering about, this girl came up to me and I tried to get back into the old way with her, but I just couldn't do it. You told me, you know, that when a child is brought to a foreign country, it picks up the language in a few weeks and forgets its own. Well, I'm a child in your country. I've forgotten my own language and can speak nothing but yours. And that's the real break-off between the corner of Tottenham Court Road and Leaving Wimpole Street finishes it.
But you're coming back to Wimpole Street. You'll forgive Higgins.
No, forgive, will she? Well, let her go. Let's see how she can get on. She'll relapse in 3 weeks without me at her elbow.
He's incorrigible, Eliza. You won't relapse, will you?
Oh, no. No, I don't suppose I could ever utter one of those old sounds by Troy.
Just so victory.
Can you blame the girl? Don't look at me like that, Eliza. It ain't my fault. I've come into money.
You must have touched a millionaire this time, Dad.
I have, but I'm dressed something special today. I'm going to St. George's, Hanover Square. Your stepmother is going to marry me.
You're letting yourself down to marry that low-common woman?
He ought to, Eliza. Why has she changed her mind?
Intimidated, Governor. Intimidated. Middle-class morality claims its victim. Eliza, won't you come put on your hat and go with me and see me turned off?
Well, if the Colonel says I must, then I'll demean myself for all my suffering.
Oh, don't worry, Eliza. She rarely comes to words with anyone now. Respectability has struck all the spirit out of her.
Be kind to them, Eliza. Make the best of it.
Well, just to show there's no ill feeling, I'll be back in a moment.
Fair enough. I'm feeling uncommon nervous about the ceremony today. I wish you'd come with me and see me through it.
But you've been through it before, man. You were married to Eliza's mother.
Who told you that?
Well, nobody told me, but I concluded naturally.
Oh, that ain't the natural way. That's only the middle-class way. My way was always the undeserved way. But you will come with me. See me through it straight.
Quite right. With pleasure, as far as a bachelor can.
Can I come, Mr. Doolittle? I should be very sorry to miss your wedding.
I should be honored by your condescension, man. And the little woman would consider it a tremendous compliment. She's been very low lately, thinking about the happy days that are no more.
Well, I'll get ready and order the carriage. Shan't be more than 15 minutes. I'm going to the church to see your father married, Eliza. You'd better come with me in the brougham. Colonel Pickering can go on with the bridegroom.
Bridegroom? What a word. Makes a man realize his position somehow.
Before I go, Eliza, do forgive him and come back to us.
I don't suppose Papa would allow me, would you, Dad?
Dad? Well, they were very cunning, them two sportsmen. See, if there'd been only one of them, you could have nailed him. But you see, there was two of them. The one of them chaperoned the other, as it were. But I bear no malice, Colonel. I should have done the same myself. You know, I've been the victim of one woman after another all my life, and I don't begrudge you getting the better of Eliza. I shan't interfere. It's getting to be time. So long, Henry. See you at St. George's, Eliza.
Do stay with us, Eliza.
Well, Eliza, you've had a bit of your own back, as you call it. Have you had enough? No, are you going to be reasonable, or do you want any more?
Oh, you want me back only to pick up your slippers and fetch and carry for you?
I haven't said I wanted you back at all.
Oh, indeed. Then, what are we talking about?
About you, not about me. If you come back, I shall treat you just as I have always treated you. I can't change my nature, and I don't intend to change my manners. My manners are exactly the same as Colonel Pickering's.
Oh, that's not true. He treats a flower girl as if she was a duchess.
And I treat a duchess as if she was a flower girl.
Ah, I see. Same to everybody.
Just so.
Like father.
Without accepting the comparison at all points, it's quite true that your father's not a snob, and that he will feel quite at home at any station of life which is eccentric destiny calls him. The great secret, Eliza, is not having bad manners, or good manners, or any other particular sort of manners, but having the same manners for every human soul. In short, behaving as if you were in heaven, where there are no third-class carriages, and one soul is as good as another.
Amen. You are a born preacher.
The question is not whether I treat you rudely, but whether you ever heard me treat anyone else better.
I don't care how you treat me. I don't mind your swearing at me. I don't mind a black eye. I've had one of those before, but I won't be passed over.
Well, then get out of my way, for I won't stop for you. You talk about me as if I was a motor bus.
So you are a motor bus, all bounce and go with no consideration for anyone but yourself, but I can do without you. Don't think I can't.
I know you can. I told you you could.
I know you did, you brute. You tried to get rid of me.
Liar.
Oh, thank you.
You never asked yourself, I suppose, whether I could do without you.
Oh, don't you try to get round me. You'll have to do without me.
Oh, I can do without anybody. I have my own soul, my own spark of divine fire, but I shall miss you, Eliza. I've learnt something from your idiotic notions. I confess that humbly and gratefully. And I've grown accustomed to your voice and appearance. I like them rather.
Well, you have both of them in your photographs and on your gramophone, and when you're lonely without me, you can turn the machine on. It's got no feelings.
I can't turn on your soul, leave me those feelings, and take away the voice and the face. They're not you.
You can twist the heart in a girl as easy as some could twist her arm. You know, Mrs. Pearce warned me about you. Time and again, she has tried to leave you, but you always got round to her at the last minute, and you don't care a bit for her, and you don't care a bit for me.
I care for life, for humanity, and you're a part of it that has come my way and been built into my house. What more could you or anyone else ask?
I don't care for anyone that doesn't care for me.
Commercial principles, Eliza. Like selling violets, is it?
Don't sneer at me. It's mean to sneer at me.
I've never sneered in my life. Sneering doesn't become either the human face or the human soul. I'm expressing my righteous contempt for commercialism. I don't and won't trade in affection. You call me a brute because you couldn't buy a claim on me by fetching my slippers and finding my spectacles. Well, you were a fool. I think a woman fetching a man's slippers is a disgusting sight. Did I ever fetch your slippers for you? I think a great deal more of you for throwing them in my face. No use slaving over me and then saying you want to be cared for. Who cares for a slave? If you come back for the sake of good fellowship, for you'll get nothing else. And if you dare, set up your little dog's tricks of fetching and carrying slippers, I'll slap the door in your silly face.
What did you do it for if you didn't care for me?
Why, because it was my job.
You didn't think of the trouble it would cause me.
Would the world have ever been made if its maker was afraid of making trouble? Making life means making trouble. The only way to escape trouble is by killing things. Cowards, you notice, are always shrieking about having troublesome people killed.
Well, I'm no preacher like you are. I don't notice things like that. I notice that you don't notice me.
Eliza, you are an idiot. I waste the treasures of my Miltonic mind by spreading them before you. Now understand once and for all that I go my way and do my work without caring twopence what happens to either of us. I'm not intimidated like your father and stepmother. So you can come back or go to the devil, which you please.
What am I to come back for?
For the fun of it. That's why I took you on.
Ah, yes, and then you may throw me out tomorrow if I don't do everything you want me to do.
Yes, and you may go just as soon as I don't do everything you want me to do.
I live with my stepmother.
Yes, or sell flowers.
Only I could go back to my flower basket. I'd be rid of you and father and all the world. Why did I let you take my independence? Why did I give it up? I'm a slave now for all my fine clothes.
Not at all. I'll adopt you as my daughter and settle money on you. Or would you rather marry Pickering?
I wouldn't marry you if you asked me. You're nearer my age than what he is.
Then he is, not then what he is.
I'll talk as I like. You're not my teacher now.
I don't suppose you would know. And as confirmed an old bachelor as I am.
That's not what I want, and don't you think it. I've always had chaps enough wanting me that way. Freddy Hill writes to me twice and 3 times a day. Sheets and sheets.
Damn his impudence.
No, he has a right to if he likes the poor lad. And he does love me.
You have no right to encourage him.
Every girl has a right to be loved.
What? Like fools like that?
Freddy is not a fool.
loves me, maybe he'd make me happier than my betters that bully me and don't want me.
Can he make anything of you? That's the point.
Perhaps I could make something of him, but that's not what I want, and don't you think it? I only want it to be natural.
Well, of course, Dad. Then what in thunder are we quarrelling about?
I want a little kindness. I know I'm a common, ignorant girl, and you're a book-learned gentleman, but I am not dirt under your feet, all right? What I did was not for the dresses or the taxis. I did it because we were pleasant together, and I came to care for you. Not to want you to make love to me, and not forgetting the difference between us, but more friendly like.
Eliza, that's exactly how I feel and how Pickering feels. You're a fool.
That's not a proper answer.
Well, it's all you'll get until you stop being a common idiot. If you're going to be a lady, you'll have to give up feeling neglected if the men you know don't spend half their time snivelling over you and the other half giving you black eyes. You can't stand the coldness of my sort of life, or the strain of it, and go back to the gutter. Work until you're more a brute than a human being, and then cuddle and squabble and drink until you fall asleep. Oh, it's a fine life. The life of the gutter. It's real, it's warm, it's violent. You can feel it through the thickest skin. You can taste it and smell it without any work or any training. Not like science, and literature, and classical music, and art, and philosophy. You find me cold, unfeeling, selfish, do you? Well then, be off with you to the sort of people you like. Marry some sentimental hog or other with lots of money and a thick pair of lips to kiss you with and a thick pair of boots to kick you with. You can't appreciate what you've got. Better go get what you can appreciate.
You are a cruel tyrant. I can't say anything to you. You turn everything against me. I'm always in the wrong, but you know very well all this time that you are nothing but a bully. You know I can't go back to the gutter, as you call it, and that I have no real friends in this world but you and the Colonel. You know well I couldn't bear to live with a low common man after being with you two, and it is wicked cruel of you to think that I can. You think that I must come back to Wimple Street, because I have nowhere else to go but Father's. But don't you be so sure that you have me under your feet to be trampled and talked down. I'll marry Freddy. I will, just as soon as he's able to support me.
Rubbish. You'll marry a Governor General of India or a Lord Lieutenant of Ireland. I'm not going to have my masterpiece thrown away on Freddy.
You think I like you to say that, but I haven't forgot what you just said a minute ago, and I won't be coaxed around as if I was a baby or a puppy. If I can't have kindness, I have independence.
Independence? Middle-class blasphemy. We're all dependent on one another, every soul of us.
I'll let you see whether I'm dependent on you. You can preach, I can teach. I'll go and be a teacher.
What will you teach in heaven's name?
Oh, what you taught me. I'll teach phonetics. And I'll offer myself as an assistant to Professor Napine.
What? That impostor, that humbug, that toning ignoramus. Teach him my methods, my discoveries. You take one step in his direction, and I'll wring your neck, you hear me?
Go ahead and ring away. What do I care? I knew you'd strike me one day. Now I know how to deal with you. Oh, you can't take away the knowledge you gave me. You said yourself I have a finer ear than you, and I can be civil and kind to people, which is more than you can. Oh, that's done you, Henry Higgins, it has. Now, I don't care that for all your bullying and your big talk, I'll advertise it in the papers that your duchess is just the flower girl that you taught, and that she'll teach anyone how to be a duchess just the same in 6 months for 1,000 guineas. Oh, when I think of myself being trampled under your feet and talked down when all I had to do was lift up a finger to be just as good as you. Oh, I could just kick myself.
Damned impudent slut. Well, it's better than snivelling. Better than fetching slippers, isn't it? By George, Eliza, I I said I'd make a woman of you, and I have. I like you this way.
Yes, you make up to me when I'm no longer afraid of you and can do without you.
Of course, you little fool. Before, you were like a millstone around my neck. Now you're a tower of strength, a consort battleship. You and I and Pickering shall be 3 old bachelors instead of 2 men and a silly girl.
The carriage is waiting, Eliza. Are you ready?
Quite. Is the professor coming?
Certainly not. He can never behave himself in church. He makes remarks all the time out loud on the clergyman's pronunciation.
Well, then, I shall not see you again, Professor. Goodbye.
By the way, Eliza, order me a hamlet of Stilton cheese, will you? And buy me a new pair of reindeer gloves to match the new suit at Eel and Bidmin's. You can choose the colour.
Buy them yourself.
I'm afraid you've spoiled that girl, Henry. Never mind, dear. I'll buy you the suit and tie.
Oh, don't bother. She'll buy them all right enough. Bye, Mother.
Goodbye.